a lot of your songs are not real specific as to they're not very visual necessarily, or certain places. But there's one song in this new one, "Good Enough," that seems to have a couple of specific touch points, things that happen.
Yeah, in the past, my songs have been pretty ambiguous and vague.
That's sort of what I was saying.
Yeah, I've gone through a lot of emotions and different types of things within every song, because usually they'd span 4 to 6 months in writing. And the nice thing about the songs on this record, like I said before, they came out really cohesively. "Good Enough" is one of those songs that came out in almost a day, and I don't really know where it came from. I know now, but when it happened, it just sort of came out. But it was sort of a song, sort of about my mother, in one sense. And it also was inspired by another singer-songwriter in Canada called Jane Sibrey, and she is going around doing these. This is not a concert kind of things, where she shows her videos and she does spoken story and stuff. And one of her stories was aimed at her mother and her relationship. And I don't know quite what grasp I had on it, except that it affected me tremendously, of the relationship she had with her mother and the women of my mother's and her mother's generation, of being so completely out of touch with their bodies, and not really having any friends to talk to about everything. Like, I have amazing female friends, and this is another thing it came from, just I can say absolutely anything to, and I trust them to be able to say these things to, and to talk about it and work things out. And my mother's generation is of, oh, let's just not talk about it. And so I sort of wrote that for her on the perspective of, I'm not just the daughter anymore, I want to be your friend now.
Well, if you could do that one, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
very
nice.
Hey, your glass is empty. It's a hell of a long way home. Why don't you let me take you? It's no good to go alone. I never would have opened up, but you seem so real to me. And after all the bullshit I've heard, it's refreshing not to see that I don't have to pretend she doesn't expect it from me. So don't tell me I haven't been good to you. Don't tell me I've never been there for you. Just tell me why nothing is good enough. Hey, little girl, would you like some candy? Your mama said it's okay. The door is open, come on outside. No, I can't come out today. It's not the wind that cracked your shoulder and threw you to the ground. Who's there that makes you so afraid? You're shaken to the bone. You know I don't understand. You deserve so much more than this. So don't tell me why he's never been good to you. Don't tell me why he's never been there for you. Don't you know that why is simply not good enough? Oh, so just let me try, and I will be good to you. Just let me try, and I will be there for you. I'll show you why you're so much more than good enough.
Sarah McLachlan's our guest. That's good enough. It's helpful to hear you talk about that song before you hear it, because you can see a lot of different things in it.
Well, and I write that way for a reason, too, because I want people to relate it to their own lives. And I want also to, as much as I do write from a very personal and emotional point of view, I need to save a bit of it for myself, for my privacy. I can only give out so much, and thus the ambiguity.
That makes sense.